Hello, welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers. I am your host, Joshua Tracy.
And I am Corwin Heller.
And we are recording this on October 1st, first day of the new month. I bring that up because you may be listening to this, it's very spooky. You may be listening to this expecting us to talk about the playoff games that have happened Tuesday and Wednesday. We will not be talking about them because they have not happened at the time we have recorded this. By the time this airs, we will know who are the wild card teams that move forward from the American League and the National League. As of right now, we do not, which is why our topic today does not pertain to that. So,
yeah, nice
Corwin,
crisp break there.
Why don't you fill us in on what we will be talking about today?
We're going to be talking about the MLB wild card. Oh, wait, no, we're not. We're talking about college football. In the full swing of the season now, up to week 5, I believe. That sounds about right. Basically, I got this idea from Danny Cannell. People always give him shit because his rankings are usually pretty ridiculous and out there compared to the consensus. And he kind of went on a little bit of a Twitter rant a couple weeks ago and was like, you know what, guys, if we didn't have a top 25 going into the season and we just started ranking teams by what we saw on the field, you know what, they'd be a lot different and look a lot more like mine than, you know, the normal ones. And then part of me was like, Danny Cannell, you're always complaining. I don't want to listen to you. But then deep down, I was like, he's got a pretty good point. So I figured, why not put together an unbiased top 25 that we could look at? So I have two things here. I took out the AP top 25 that I had in here originally because, believe it or not, that would be a bias. And that's the exact opposite of what we're doing here. So basically, I put the top 25 in the order that I would rank them today in as unbiased of a manner as I could. And then I also added total yardage rankings, both total offense and total defense, and kind of did basically just a rankings based off of the average score of both of those ranks. So we could jump right on in, sir, if you would like.
Yeah, I understand the spreadsheet, which is great. Good start. Let's get into it.
Perfect. So I probably should have the AP top 25 up just so that you could get a reference. But if you don't have it in front of you at home or in the car, just look up week 5 AP poll. I mean, it'll be there on the AP website. It'll be there on ESPN. And I have those records saved everywhere. So we're going to start things off with my personal top 25. To start things off, I have the Ohio State University. Don't have any major wins against major players. Don't have any losses on the season. They are 5-0, 2-0 in the Big Ten. If you look at what they're putting on the field, regardless of the level of competition, they look unstoppable. Their offense with Justin Fields is really starting to come along well. He's getting used to playing in Ryan Day's offense, and you could just see the natural talent right there. He was kind of the top recruit 2 years ago. He was the 1B to Trevor Lawrence when he came out. Was committed to Penn State for a while, not too bitter about that. Went down to Georgia. Didn't win the job as a true freshman because Jake Fromm was there, just coming off a national title run that unfortunately it fell short in. And decided, hey, fuck this. I'm going to go on out to Ohio State, take my talents to not South Beach. And basically, he looks exactly what was promised. He is accurate passer down the field, has a cannon of an arm, and basically has the legs of Braxton Miller and Terrell Pryor back at Ohio State in the day. So they look amazing. Their defense is loaded. Chase Young's the best defensive player in the country. Jeffrey Okudah is probably the best cornerback in the country. I mean, they have plenty of depth there on defense. So despite ranking, I believe it's 5th or 6th in the AP poll, I'm just going to bring it up.
For week 5, they were ranked 3rd.
Oh, Josh, you are a savior. So I'm just going to go to you every time I got an AP poll question.
You got it, buddy. I'm involved.
Yeah, so they have an offensive ranking of 8th, a defensive ranking of 2nd, which would put them... We'll do the OD rankings later, the offense-defense rankings, just because they're not going to make much sense one at a time. So Ohio State, number 1. Number 2, another fresh face here is LSU, Louisiana State. Joe Burrow and that offense are just a major surprise, one of the biggest so far this college football season. He looks like a completely different quarterback. They are just running on all cylinders. The defense has had their issues. They're not perfect. Gave up a ton of yards and a ton of points to Texas when they played. They did win that game. That is a huge win in my book, which kind of bumps them up here to number 2 over the next 2 teams on this list. Have the 3rd ranked offense, the 32nd ranked defense, 4-0 this year, 1-0 in the SEC with a big win at Texas. I think LSU is going to be a major factor in the playoff poll later this year. Where are they ranked in the AP poll?
LSU is ranked 5th.
Excellent. So LSU was 5th. Ohio State was 6th.
3rd.
Ohio State is 3rd.
Ohio State was 3rd.
Ooh, they moved up. I already forgot what you said earlier. So moving on to my own number 3, I have Georgia here, the Georgia Bulldogs. They have a marquee win versus Notre Dame, where they just looked electric on offense and defense. Jake Fromm, my opinion, doesn't get any respect. I think that offense is holding him back a little. I think he could do a lot more for that team than basically what they're allowing him to do, just because of how good their rushing offense is with DeAndre Swift there. But once they start getting into the thick of this SEC conference play, I think they're really going to prove themselves. Ranked 15th in offense and 9th in defense. They are 4-0, 1-0 in the SEC. And where are they ranking in the AP poll?
Georgia. There's going to be some Oh, no, they're second. Sorry, my bad. They're right they're at the top, number 2. I looked right past them.
Excellent. So next up, I have the Alabama Crimson Tide. At one point when I was doing this, I had them number 1 just based off of, honestly, the bias of them being Alabama. They have far and away the best receiving core in the country. They have the best quarterback in the country right now with Tua Tagovailoa. Offensively, I have no worries. Najee Harris is their running back. It's just a mauler. Alex Leatherwood as their left tackle right now. It's just they have such a fantastic offense. Basically could just pick them up, plop them in the NFL in 5 years, and they're going to be really doing a lot of work there. The defense is what scares me about this team. It's not the level that it has been the past couple of years. It's not bad by any means. 38th ranked in the country compared to the 4th ranked offense. But it is a big question mark for how it can hold up against the LSUs, the Georgias, the whatnot. 5-0 right now, 2-0 in the SEC. Where are they in the AP poll?
That would be number 1, good friend.
Alabama Crimson Tide doing what they do. Is that any surprise that they're at number 1 right now?
Not even a little bit. And I don't know anything about this sport.
All right, next up, what are we on? Number 5?
Yes, sir.
We have the Oklahoma Sooners. Far and away the most exciting offense to watch this year so far. Jalen Hurts, basically Lincoln Riley has just proven himself to be the master of quarterback whisperers. He's the front runner for the Heisman right now, Jalen Hurts. It'll be really exciting to see if Oklahoma can have 3 quarterbacks in a row, be their number 1, guy and be Heisman contenders. And then maybe he'll go first overall. He won't, but maybe. They're still a Big 12 team with a Big 12 defense. Their number 1 ranked offense right now is kind of being held back by the 47th ranked defense. They are 4-0. They do have a win in the Big 12. They're going to be a contender just like the rest of these top teams, but just like Alabama, that defense is a big question mark. Where are they at?
The Oklahoma Sooners are 6th in the AP poll.
Not a crazy amount of variance right now, but that's fine. Next up is, they were the number 1 team coming out of last season, the Clemson Tigers, defending national champions. They just don't look like the same Clemson team. offense or defense. Trevor Lawrence has been very rusty. The defense, I mean, losing 4 starters on the defensive line to the NFL, a couple of those guys in the first round. Like, we knew that was going to happen. They do have a win against Texas A&M, who at least was ranked. I don't know if they currently are. They have a top rank. Jesus, they have the 21st ranked offense and the 8th ranked defense. They're still a tremendous team. They're still the favorite to win the ACC, and I still think they're a favorite to make the college football playoff. But until they can prove that, or at least show that they are the same Clemson team, they're going to be down here with the middle of the pack in this top 10.
Care to know where they're ranked?
I would love to know.
Number 4.
Right there. So just a little bit of movement. I don't think anybody lined up in this top 6 so far. I do think number 7 is the same with Wisconsin.
Very close. Wisconsin is ranked 8th in the AP poll.
All right, I'll go fuck myself. Wisconsin, the offense is basically the Jonathan Taylor show. The offensive line is tremendous. Biatich, I believe, is how his last name is pronounced. It is a difficult name. Spare me. That offensive line is one of the best in the country. Jonathan Taylor, one of the best in the country. I want to say he's averaging close to 200 yards a game so far. Basically, the offense is always going to run through him. Their quarterback, Jack Cohn, I believe. He's a guy. He can do what he has to do, but he's not going to be out there winning them games. But it's the defense that really is the marquee showing for this team. Not allowing a single point through the first 3 games, or at least through the first 2 games, and not allowing a touchdown through most of that Michigan game. They are smothering, to say the least. The top-ranked defense in the country to match along with the 44th ranked offense, which I think it seems low for them, but regardless, they're 4-0 right now with a marquee win over Michigan at home. I like these guys. Far and away the favorite to win the Big Ten West. I'm very excited Penn State doesn't have to play them this year, so that's that. As we know, Josh said they were ranked 8th in the AP poll, so we could move on to my number 8, which is Auburn, the Auburn Tigers, War Eagle. Not quite on the same level. I think this is really where things start to fall off the next tier of things. Bo Nix, true freshman quarterback, there's only so far he's going to be able to take you with what we've seen from him so far. They do have 2 big wins on their resume so far, Oregon at home and at Texas A&M.
Oh, he died. Oh, what would we do? No, Corwin, come back.
Sorry. I was all right, we'll just have to cut that out.
We won't.
God damn it, Josh. I hate you.
I'm lazy.
So Auburn right now, they're the 36th ranked offense in the country to match with the 33rd ranked defense. Nothing crazy exciting with them, but they have 2 big wins on their resume so far, which can't be said for really any other team in the country right now. They've proven they can win big games and can win big games consistently, so they deserve that top 10 seeding at number 8. Next up on before we move on, where is Auburn ranked in the AP poll?
They are 7th. So basically you just have Wisconsin and Auburn switched as to what the AP had.
Fair enough. I do think Wisconsin's a better team than Auburn. I guess the Associated Press disagrees, but that's fine. Next up on the list, finally, the first big surprise, and I know I will be butchered by all of y'all because I'm biased as fuck. Penn State, number 9. Sean Clifford's coming in, taking over for Trace McSorley, and proving that he should have been doing this for a hell of a lot longer because he has been electric. Big Ten Player of the Week this week. The offense is rolling. The defense is rolling. One of the more complete teams in this top 25. They are one of 3 teams in the nation who ranks in the top 15 in both offense and defense, along with the number 1 ranked, The Ohio State University, and the number 3 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. So that is some pretty fine company to be in. Penn State has the number 14 ranked offense and the number 14 ranked defense. Quite consistent. 4-0, 1-0 in the Big Ten. Been able to just dominate every opponent so far, except for Pitt, but we don't talk about that. Only thing holding them back is they haven't really played any major teams, which is why they're stuck behind the Auburns and the Wisconsins of the world. So hopefully as the Big Ten gets a move on, so will Penn State. Next up, to close out the top 10, we have
do you care to hear where AP has Penn State ranked?
You got me, Josh. I absolutely do.
How afraid are you of this?
I know where they're ranked because, I mean, it's Penn State.
Yeah, it's your school. Yeah. They have them ranked 12th.
And it's bullshit. Coaches have us at 11th, so take some.
Well, to be fair, 9, but between 9 and 12 isn't a huge stretch, you know?
No, it's not crazy.
Like, it's not like they were ranked like 24th and you put them at 9th. Then it's like, ooh, buddy, like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I have like an unranked team ranked, 10th or anything like I might have. I don't, by the way. It's Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Texas Longhorns, Sam Ehlinger, also really part of that Heisman favorite group right now. There's probably 5 or 6 guys right up there, and he's very much a part of that group. Their offense, they're doing fine. Colin Johnson, Devin Duvernay, they just have a lot of playmakers at wide receiver. They can move the ball. I really like them in the Big 12 this year. I think they'll be able to pull some magic against Oklahoma, hopefully. The problem is the defense got smoked by LSU, has really allowed a lot of points. Ranked out of 130 teams, I want you to guess without looking where Texas would be ranked if you haven't already.
Oh, I already looked. I know.
All right. They are 102nd out of 130 teams. That's not great. They do have the number 19th ranked offense. But, man, I like what I see when I watch Texas. I think they could win some big games. But, again, that defense is just – it's not even question marks. It's just like, can Texas have enough duct tape to hold themselves together? They do have a loss at home against LSU as well. In reality, they might be able to drop a little bit further. But at the end of the day, I just love what they have on the field. So where does AP have them?
The Texas Longhorns are ranked 11th.
So close, so close.
Just ahead of
I
the
did my
Lions.
Fuck. I did my best not to look at the AP poll after I started piecing all of these guys together. So I am not very well versed in these rankings. I did my best to kind of hide them from myself. So forgive. Next up at number 11, I have the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Notre Dame's gone. They got a tough loss against Georgia, where they really were putting up a fight throughout most of the game. Georgia, the way they were playing, probably should have blown them out of the water, but they were just able to stay through. And that's about as good of a loss as you're going to get in college football. It's a little bit early to talk about quality losses, but that's definitely one of them. They do also have a win against a top 25 ranked Virginia at the time. I believe they were 18th. I don't love Ian Book. I don't love the lack of really any run game. The defense is what it is. The offensive line is fantastic, as it always is. The 65th ranked offense and the 53rd ranked defense, just there's not a lot of excitement there. And that's been Notre Dame football for quite a while. So it's going to be tough for them, especially as an independent, to fight into that playoff contention. Where are they in the AP poll?
They are ranked 10th.
That's what I thought.
Aren't you fucking smart?
Not really. I'm pretty fucking dumb, and I think everyone here knows that. I lost where I was. Speaking of being dumb,
we're on number
12.
Florida.
The Florida Gators. Felipe Franks is what he is. Still hurt right now, so is what it is.
What a fucking name, Felipe Franks.
Yeah. There was a lot of I don't know how I would phrase this. There was a lot of argument about Felipe Franks in the past couple weeks because some people thought he was just a real confident quarterback and was a good leader. Other guys thought he was just a cocky asshole, so that was a fun little debate. I'm kind of torn. I think part of it is just confidence, and then sometimes he could just be a cocky asshole like most quarterbacks. That's just the way it is. They have the 54th ranked offense in the country and the 17th ranked defense. Still 5-0 right now. Opposite of Texas, they're 5-0, but at the same time, I don't really love what they're putting out on the field. They have a couple close losses, or a couple close wins, I should say. Just haven't really shown the ability to be a top-ranked school. It's just, I don't think it's in the cards for Florida this year, as much as those fans want it. Where are they in the AP?
They are ranked number 9. So we've
Wow.
officially captured all of the top 10 schools from the AP poll.
Excellent. So moving on to lucky number 13, we have I guess this might be, I actually don't know, the Iowa Hawkeyes. One of the top defenses in the country, ranked number 5 with AJ Epinesa there. Most likely going to be a top 5 pick in the draft next year, at least in my mind. Absolute dominant defensive end and edge rusher. Just has the speed off the ball, has just a ton of power. Just great edge rusher. Definitely will make NFL teams happy in April. The offense with Nate Stanley is less exciting. They are ranked 29th in the country, but it's just not an exciting. It's not an exciting offense. It's not a Big 12 offense. It's not a high-powered air attack like you would see at like a Washington State. It's a Big 10 Iowa offense. They run the ball. They'll throw the ball a little bit, but there's a ceiling to what it can reach. And it's honestly kind of surprising to see them as high as 29. 4-0 right now, 1-0 in the Big 10. We'll see how it goes down in the Big 10 West this year between Iowa and Wisconsin. So where does AP have them?
They have Iowa at 14, so you're pretty much on par thus far with where AP has everyone just about.
As someone who said they didn't want to use AP as a crutch and not really look at it, I'm doing a really good job of being AP.
Well, I'm finding it interesting how much, I guess, how well preseason predictions have serviced the regular season outcomes thus far, because you didn't. Granted, you have a better context for these things than, like, say, someone like me would, but still, I mean, for you looking at just basic performance rankings and trying to make new rankings off of that, as compared to the quote unquote biases that come from histories of these teams' performances, whether long term or even just the past couple seasons, everything seems to be lining up pretty spot on thus far, which I think says a lot. Again, just thus far, about how well these stereotypings or what have you of the these college football teams have been working thus far.
It was fun to do. It really was.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, sure thing. So moving on is one of my dark horse teams for the college football playoff this year. I love a lot about this team, but they have just been off tilt at times. They haven't been sharp. The Washington Huskies, Chris Peterson's team, they got Jacob Eason there starting now. Another first-round quarterback for next year's draft. Absolutely love the arm talent, love the size. He honestly should still be the starter at Georgia right now. If we're being honest, a tough injury opened the door for Jake Fromm to come in, and he was just so good for Georgia that first year that they kept him, and he transferred over to Washington. Yeah, I mean, the offense has a lot of room to grow, especially as Eason really gets in the hang of things. The defense, despite losing a lot of guys to the draft the past couple of years, is still looking really sharp. The defensive backfield is one of the best in the country. But at the same time, they're I think it was Notre Dame and Auburn earlier. We just haven't seen the spark on one side of the ball to really take over this team. Very well balanced, 40th in offense, 45th in defense. If there's any team outside of the top 10 that I think is going to make a push for the college football playoff this year, I would put my money on Washington. Their only loss this year came against a really tough Cal team with a tremendous defense, kind of really shut Eason down, and was able to come out with a win up in Washington. So where does AP have them?
They are listed at number 16.
Ooh, close but no cigar. So moving on, another team in the Pacific Northwest, we have the Oregon Ducks. Justin Herbert's squad, who, like Washington, just hasn't looked sharp. They have arguably the best offensive line in football. They have a top 3 quarterback at the position with Justin Herbert, another guy likely to go top 5 in the draft next year. He's shown the accuracy. He's shown the arm talent. He's shown us all the intangibles. It's just the tangibles. I'm just going to move on and we can pretend like that didn't happen. I just don't know if he's shown the grit that we want to see from top quarterbacks. They have the 33rd ranked offense right now with the number 10 ranked defense, with a tough loss in Auburn to start out the season. So they're going to have to be clawing themselves back up from the basement, not the basement, but behind the leader in the Pac-12. So where does the AP have them?
They have them squarely at number 13.
Ooh. Moving on, we have the defending national champion. No, that was 2 years ago. The former national champions, the UCF Golden Knights. I believe it's Golden Knights. I actually haven't looked it up.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? Oh, God, I'm glad you agree with me on that one. Yeah, they have a tough loss at Pitt where Pitt actually looked like they had a pulse. Tough loss. They have arguably one of the best, not arguably, they have the second best offense in the country. It's just, it's tough. They've won a lot of games the past few seasons. It's been one of the toughest stadiums to play in. It just happens sometimes, teams can't win every game that they're supposed to win. You lose a tough one to Pitt. Pitt's a team that's shown that they can beat top teams out of nowhere. They've done it to Clemson multiple times. They've done it to other teams. It's just the way it is. Fucking Pitt. They're a bunch of assholes. Number 2 ranked offense to match with the number 37th ranked defense. AP.
Oh, shit. 19th.
Okay, not too far off. Next up at 17, I'm hoping this one is where we finally have a little variance because I am, in my mind, a lot higher on this team than others. We got one Surratt brother taken over at Wake Forest, the number 11th ranked offense in the country, the number 73 ranked defense. They're just a fun team to watch. They have a good win at UNC so far this year. That offense, it's running smoothly and as smoothly as you could expect from, well, honestly, significantly more smoothly than you could ever expect from a Wake Forest team who, I'm going to be honest, I probably haven't watched one of their games purposefully in the last 10 years, maybe 1 or 2 thrown in there, but I usually go out of my way to not watch Wake Forest because they've been so bad for so long. But this looks like a great year for them. They're a fun team to watch. I'm hoping they can make some noise in the ACC, but we'll see. Where does the AP poll have them?
You are right. This is the most disparate between these two rankings. AP has them at 24th.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah, so hopefully I'm right on this one. Otherwise, I'm going to look pretty dumb. But, oh well. Moving on, we have the 18th ranked Michigan Wolverines. Absolutely shellacked by Wisconsin. I've never seen a performance like that by Michigan in the Jim Harbaugh era. Just an inability. Yeah, right. Just an inability to really do anything on either side of the ball. Benched their starting quarterback, Shea Patterson, for Christian McCaffrey's brother Dylan, who then got decapitated, and they had to put Shea Patterson back in. So if this was last week, they probably would have been closer to 23 to 25, but they really showed up last week against Rutgers, and I know that's an oxymoron because anyone can show up against Rutgers. But, I mean, Shea Patterson looks sharp. The offense as a whole looks sharp. The defense completely shut out Rutgers. Again, not crazy, but they showed that they have the ability to have that kind of offense, just maybe not against the number one ranked defense in the country. So I think 18 is a fitting place for them. I think they would have a struggling time against the few teams in front of them, may be able to put up a couple points and sneak out a win with the likes of, UCF and Wake Forest. But I do think they would be decently favored against the following teams in this ranking. So 18 is where they've ended up. Where does AP have them?
Well, Corwin, might surprise you. They have them also ranked at 18th.
Nah, damn.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you suck.
I do. Thank you. Next up is a team that if I could have taken a team out of the top 25, I would have. But with what they put on the field so far, they deserve this ranking for now. But because they lost their starting quarterback to injury so far this season, I don't expect them to be here longer than another week or two. The Cal Bears, one of the best defensive backfields in the country, arguably top 2, top 3. They have a good defense. They have a top tackler whose name I'm very much forgetting because I've been talking forever and I'm not used to this. Their offense is absolutely abysmal. The 108th ranked offense in the country, who just lost their starting quarterback to add on to this. They're going to struggle to stay afloat in any capacity. So, Cal, I'm sorry, but 19 is probably the highest you're going to see for the rest of the season. I would also like to point out that they were able to beat Washington in Washington, but they did give up a tough loss at home against Arizona State. Josh, where are they at?
The Cal Golden Bears are ranked 21st.
That's probably closer to where they will be going forward, at least for the time being. Next up at number 20, we have the Boise State Broncos, those Idaho guys. Looking at their offensive and defensive rankings, I probably would expect them to be a lot higher on this list, 24th and 25th respectively. I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen much of them at all this season, so it's hard for me to honestly put them any higher. They're undefeated right now without any major opponents, but the rankings are there for them to be honestly higher on this list, as we'll go into later on. But at the same time, Boise State, unless you could play some big games in prime time on the national spotlight, it's going to be at the bottom of the top 20 for you. Where does the AP poll have them?
Has Boise State ranked 15th. So this is the second largest disparity for you.
Boise State. I'm honestly surprised that AP would have a team outside of the group of 5 that doesn't have the track record of UCF that high. Granted, it's Boise State, and they've basically been in the top 25 every year for the past 15 years, but they always seem to struggle mightily against tougher opponents. So we'll see. Next up, we have Herm Edwards, Arizona State Sun Devils. I had very low expectations for this team coming into the season. I thought we were going to laugh at Herm a lot more than we did. And they've been able to do a lot. They have wins at Michigan State and at Cal. They do have one tough loss, post-loss against Colorado. They have the 89th ranked offense, but they do have the 39th ranked defense. I'm really excited to see what this team can do now. Beating Michigan State, beating Cal, both very tough defenses, might be why their offense is ranked so low at 89th. But at the same time, this team, they've shown they could win against good teams. I want to see them keep it up. Hopefully the Pac-12 doesn't turn into just absolute gladiator pit, and they could get through with maybe a loss or two and see a nice bowl game at the end of the year for them. Next up, actually, before that, where does the AP poll have Arizona State?
They are not ranked.
Woohoo! I think. We'll see if it works out, but that's exciting, having someone that's not ranked. Yeah, I mean, man, I feel like I got to say more about this team now, but
fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. Next up, we have the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Have a really tough loss against Texas. Watched that game fully on Saturday. Chuba Hubbard, fantastic name, even better running back. Put up just absolute monster numbers the past couple of weeks. He's basically the backbone of this team. Man, that offense, number 10 in the country, looks dynamite. They have a great young quarterback there from Mike Gundy to groom. Hopefully replace Mason Rudolph, do some exciting stuff there. Like most of the Big 12 teams, they have a mediocre offense at best, ranked 61st in the country. Outside of that tough loss at Texas, they've looked good. I just like Arizona State. I'm just excited to see what they can do coming off of that. Are they ranked, Josh?
Yes, but barely. Oklahoma State ranked 25th.
Yeah, what a bunch of scrubs. You should try getting ranked higher, guys. Next up,
real quick, because I'm sure you're not watching it, but the NL wildcard game is on, and it is already 2-0 Brewers as Scherzer walked the leadoff batter and then led up a home run to Yasmani Grandal.
Yikes.
So, quite a start here in the nation's capital.
That's really funny. All right, moving on. We have the Utah Utes at 23. One of the best defenses in the country coming into the season, aptly ranked 18th. Their offense, not quite as good, but still up there, ranked 31st in the country. This was everybody's favorite dark horse pick to come into the season to make some noise in the playoffs. A couple of guys had them beating Alabama and Georgia, I believe, to win the national title. They're better than this in my mind, but a tough loss at USC. USC is just not what it used to be. It's a tough blemish on their record, so I want to have them ranked higher up. I think they will be higher ranked in the coming weeks. It's just they got to prove it first. Haven't really seen it too much on the field so far, but that's the way it be sometimes. What do you got on them, Josh?
Utah?
The Utah Utes.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't process that was their name. This is actually now your second largest disparity as they are ranked 17th.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know. It just hasn't been there for me. So there you go. Moving on to number 24, a close personal friend of mine. 2007, knocked off Michigan. Last year, almost knocked off Penn State in overtime. The Appalachian State Mountaineers. Man, Zach Thomas at quarterback, severely underrated. One of those guys who can do it all. He is an atlas, just puts the team on his back and just carries them along. The 57th ranked offense in the country to match with a lowly 95th ranked defense. They were able to beat UNC, which is saying something. Mac Brown has a tough team there this year. Appalachian State, I have a strong suspicion they're not going to be ranked. But at the same time, I think they should be 4-0 right now. Appalachian State, just prove anything. I just like watching you guys play. I just want to see you guys play in a good bowl this year. Does AP have them ranked?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. If I had to put money on any one of these teams not being ranked, absolutely would have been Appalachian State. Unless we talk about the next team on the list, closing out the top 25. I know for a fact this team will not be ranked in the AP poll because they are currently 2-3. The UNC Tar Heels, Mac Brown's new squad. They have struggled at times, but I've seen enough in the 3 tough losses that they have against Wake Forest, Clemson, and Appalachian State to know that they are significantly better than what they've shown on the field so far, which is why I force myself to put them in my top 25. Being 5 games into the season and having 3 losses that's a death sentence. But at the same time, they are much better than this, and hopefully regression will help them out quite a bit, and they'll be able to prove themselves. 80th ranked offense, 63rd ranked defense. Nothing exciting there. The other Surratt brother, his brother plays at Wake Forest. The other one plays here at UNC. That was a fantastic game to watch. Those two clash together. You don't have to tell me, but is UNC ranked, Josh?
No.
Yeah. AP would never do that. So I do have a 26th ranked team on here. They were at 25 for me, but I wanted to put UNC there because of what happened on the field. I have a feeling these guys might still be hanging around in the top 25, but my next team in the number 26th ranked Virginia Cavaliers, they have a tough loss against Notre Dame where it wasn't exactly close the whole way, but they were still fighting. That offense just struggles at times, 99th in the country. The defense is what keeps them afloat, currently ranked 15th, even after the loss to Notre Dame. So hopefully that defense is enough to kind of carry them back or maintain in the top 25. So does AP rank the Virginia Cavaliers?
They actually do. They come in here at 23rd.
Ooh, would you look at that? I think they were 18th was what I was looking at when I was looking up these wins and losses. So dropping down to 23, it shouldn't be too.
It has
worse.
your list of that there in the previous thing. They were 18th, so they have dropped off.
So that's my top 26. Very unbiased in my mind, except for maybe a little Penn State, but I will hold strong because this is my defense here. Josh, if you would like to go over to column E, OD rank, and sort smallest to largest.
I would, but before I do, Corwin,
Go for
would
it.
you be curious to know which teams were ranked that you did not have?
Absolutely.
So I just want to make sure I don't say anything to anyone that you did. Texas A&M, the Aggies,
So
came
overrated.
in at 20th. The Michigan State Spartans came in at 22nd, and I think that was it. I think those are the only 2 that you didn't have.
Yeah, I don't like Texas A&M. I like Jimbo Fisher, but it's his first year there. Texas A&M's just, I think they have 2 or 3 losses so far. I don't have that in front of me, but Kellen Mond, I think, is a jag. I don't love it. His game, what he can do. Michigan State, I think they're probably worthy of being in the top 25. If I had to rank anybody at 27th, they would probably be right there. So they're one of those next teams team on the bubble. I'm definitely not excited to play them this year as a Penn State fan, just because they always know Penn State's number, and Mark D'Antonio is a fantastic coach. So, yeah. One good team, one bad team there in the top 25 still.
Yeah.
So you ready to move on to this OD rank?
Yes.
So basically, this is just the average of the offensive and defensive ranks. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this, but I have homework, so I did it the quickest and simplest way. Not much of a change in the top 2. Ohio State, which was ranked number 1, they have an average of 5, which is fucking insane, having the number 2 ranked defense and number 8th ranked offense. So they're just killing it. What can I say? Followed by Georgia, then followed by the Penn State Nittany Lions. We don't have to go through all of this if you don't want to, just because we'd just be reading off more names.
It's a lot. It'd be a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Clemson's right there. Iowa makes it into the top 5. UCF jumps up. Oklahoma drops down. Yeah, Alabama, Wisconsin, Oklahoma all falls. Boise State and Utah jumps up. Auburn takes a plunge. Words are tough. Yeah, Cal is disappearing off the page because of how bad that offense is. Texas is actually ranked 22nd or 22nd. So that's tough for them. They're right there with Notre Dame. Yeah, I mean, outside of that, no major changes. It's just really cool to see. If you go to our website that Josh can plug.
Oh, now juicing the numbers at wix.wixsite.com/website. Juicing the numbers.wixsite.com/website.
Second try, perfect. Especially for being cold called like that. This will be up there. You could look at it, keep track at how these teams do moving forward. Is there anything left on this that you would like to discuss, good sir?
Nothing on this, but I did have a question.
Sure thing.
Would it be possible to weight wins and losses by quality of opponent to
Yes.
factor that in a way? And do you,
Very much.
if you did, do you think it would be a valuable piece of information or just marginal?
I think would be very valuable. The only problem is if I was going to weight these teams, I'd probably have to rank all of them, or at least put all 130 teams into tiers, which is just so much work to do every single week. The computer algorithms, which used to be part of the BCS rankings, they have their own rankings. That's what they look at. They look at, offensive and defensive numbers. They look at strength of schedule and all that. It's one of those things. Strength of schedule is, everyone looks at it, but it's never really ever qualified, qualitative evidence. I don't know. I could do it. I would never will do it. That's how I'll give that.
All right, that's fair.
All right. Ready to move on to some more around the horn stuff?
Yeah, let's start with the thing. Vontez Perfect.
Vontez Perfect.
That son of a bitch.
Suspended for the rest of the season for, believe it or not, a dirty hit on Jack Doyle.
Thank God.
Yeah, he is far and away my least favorite player in the NFL. If there was justice in the NFL, he wouldn't be allowed to play anymore. It's ridiculous that he even still allowed to be on a team. A lifetime ban would not give him or give his victims justice. It's bullshit that he still gets to make the money he's made.
The thing that's shocking to me is that I've seen so many people defending him.
Right? Why would you defend a guy like that?
Well, that's the thing is they everyone I see defending it's like, oh, that hit wasn't like that bad. Like, I've seen worse hits this year. But my thing is like, and maybe I think this is partly the reaction to it is partly because of the NFL. Because like in hockey, especially in hockey, because it's contact. It doesn't really fly for baseball as much because you don't see it to the same degree. But in hockey, intent doesn't matter. And mistake of a hit versus like you try to hit him, but you miss, it doesn't matter. It will matter eventually if you keep doing it. But if you accidentally hit somebody in the spot that you're not supposed to hit them, like, the head, then you're going to get suspended. And the MLB or the NHL Department of Player Safety, like they will take into consideration previous offenses. Did it look like you were trying to hit him in that way? Like they'll look at intent and stuff. But regardless of all that, you will get a suspension, like for sure. And Vontez Perfect has had so many suspensions that it's gotten to a point where he's going to be suspended for long periods of time. It would happen in hockey too. But I think the problem is that football's never had to do anything. Not that they never had to. They've chosen to never do anything about it like this. That fans are now confused about why this hit would be the hit to get 12. But they're not taking into account that it's Vontaze Burfict, like the shittiest, dirtiest dude in the sport.
And it's not even close.
Not even close.
So Gil Brandt, former executive for the Dallas Cowboys, very much involved in the NFL still, put out a nice little thread. Vontaze Burfict was fined more than $400,000 since coming into the league as an undrafted free agent in 2012. So this would be his 7th season. He's been suspended 18 games, not including the 4 games for PEDs last season. And then it just goes through just tweet after tweet of all of the major hits that he's had. Just to count, there's been 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 separate games that he has been fined after multiple games where there have been multiple incidents. In 2018, last year, he was fined $112,000 in a single game against the Steelers. Just kick him out of the league. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is just getting fucking absurd, and I can't believe you have to argue with people about this. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
All right, let's move on to something else. What do you got for me? Or for us?
All right. So the California State Senate passed a law now saying that college athletes can get sponsorships, right?
Yes. So it was passed in the state assembly and in the state senate. And then recently, I believe it was yesterday. So whatever day it was that it was announced that the governor is going to sign it and basically put it into law. Yeah, NCAA doesn't like that.
I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Yeah, I am very much on board. I know Florida and Pennsylvania have already come out, said that they're going to be putting their own versions of this law, Fair Pay to Play Act, into vote. So exciting stuff.
Yeah. So obviously the NCAA is going to fight this because they suck.
Tooth and nail.
What do you think the next step is?
For the NCAA or for people who want fair pay for college athletes?
All right, you're right. Allow me to rephrase. Let's assume this stands and all is well with the world. More states are going to look into this?
Yes.
Right? Like they'll have to. It'll just be
if the NCAA loses this legal fight, I would say the vast majority of states are going to put this into effect.
So which state would you think would be next?
One of Florida or New Jersey or Pennsylvania. I mean, I'd have to say Florida just because the money on the line in Florida. Like it's no surprise that California would be on top of this first just because of how many college athletes are in California. And they're pretty progressive about that kind of stuff. I would think Florida is not far behind. I think Pennsylvania will pass it at some point, even if it's a little slower. So it's going to be not a lot going on until there's more to know about what's going to occur with this. But I think once we have some definitive answers, it'll turn into a landslide.
So now let me ask you about Texas, because Texas loves to do nothing and be conservative about things and not pass laws, but they have a lot of really prominent college programs for football, which is the money sport. And if every other state starts doing this and Texas doesn't, then high-profile student athletes are probably going to go, despite the fact that their program is going to be more renowned, that those your Texas States and your Texas A&Ms and all that. If a motherfucker can get paid, a motherfucker will go where he can get paid, and Texas will have to, right?
Yeah, these motherfuckers will have to. I wouldn't be surprised if they just sprint this through the state assembly and state senate, just to be able to have that, honestly, just be able to have that recruiting advantage against other schools. I mean, it's Texas. Like, they're going to put all their money into football anyway. Might as well do it to get some good athletes along the way and kind of, bring Texas back. I mean, fuck, they have SMU right
Some
there
might say
in
make
Dallas.
Texas great again.
Well, let's not go there. But I mean, they literally hold the only school that's ever been shut down for paying players. Tremendous 30 for 30 documentary, Pony Excess. Everyone go watch it. Great stuff. Eric Dickerson has a dope ass car in it. So
yeah,
I'm
excited.
I am too. I think it's going to do a lot for all student athletes, especially football players. I don't know exactly how it's going to go down. I can't imagine the NCAA is going to just roll over at any point with this, because it's basically going to be the beginning of the end, hopefully, for that entire just bureaucracy. So this is going to be a tough, long, drawn-out fight. So don't expect any of this to go into effect before, like, 2023, 2024. Like, it's going to be a long, long fight.
It will be. But one of the other things I'm really looking forward to is the level of involvement from current and retired pro athletes, because there are a lot of people, like Richard Sherman was just tweeting about this today, who fucking hate the NCAA. And a lot of the people who really fucking hate the NCAA were student athletes, because they wanted to get compensated for what they were doing, and they didn't. And for a lot of the student athletes that came from poorer backgrounds, where they were hoping to get into pro athletics in order to make money, get out of that, help pay for their parents' shit, whatever the socioeconomic behind their decisions are, like, they could have used the money that they, if without the NCAA, probably would have gotten. And so,
absolutely,
just like Richard Sherman. So, like, I'm willing to bet that over the course of this legal battle, a lot of the lawyer fees, legal fees, are probably going to end up being sponsored by a number of athletes, again, either current or retired, who want to put their name in this fight, put some money where their mouth is, and really stick it to the NCAA for fucking them over for a while. And I'm excited about it.
I don't think I've ever had a conversation with anyone or heard any former athletes come out and be like, you know what? NCAA is pretty fucking awesome. I love what they do.
I've never heard anyone defend them.
If you haven't heard Pat McAfee's story, it's on YouTube, it's on iTunes. If you go back to his podcast, he has a tremendous story about the NCAA that is very much worth a listen.
Yeah, it seems like everyone has their story. Well, yeah, everyone's got their story about getting fucked by them because they fucked. Just makes me mad knowing these poor kids are getting taken advantage of. Yeah, all right, that's all I really got to say.
We have any other topics on the agenda?
I was gonna run through some baseball stats stuff, but we can save it for another time.
Yeah,
the season has already ended, so these numbers will not budge.
Yeah, we're pretty much at an hour right now, so we could take this any number of directions, however you want to do it.
I say we just wrap it up. We'll give the people some more stuff looking at next week, and we'll touch base again with the humans on Monday.
All right, see you, humans.
All right, well, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at JuicingPod. If you want to hit us up via email, you can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. And if you want to check out the show notes, you can do so at juicingthenumbers.wixsite.com/website or juicingthenumbers.com. And until Monday, y'all have a good one.
Bye.